Wednesday, February 21st, 2018. Today is Wednesday, February 21st, 2018. I'm on repeat. It's MMA Junkie Radio's pre-show, the show before the show. Shut up, Danny. Well, I was gone, and then I came back, and yesterday we had some...
You were gone, and then you were here.
So we weren't able to do the pre-show. So I kind of forgot how it went. But here we are. Room goes to my left. MMA Junkie Radio's fight analyst, Dan Tom. And did you just trip?
No.
Oh, and back in New York, Danny Okers. Okers. And to my right, but soon to be my left, Gorgeous George, the host of this show. How you guys doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm doing good. Yeah. We answered the exact same time. We were both trying to not talk over the other person. And doing that, we both ended up talking over each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Danny has been like a giggle monster the last 3 days. No, more. Even going back to, I think, Friday.
You weren't here Friday.
I know, but I still talk to you.
Somebody
Why did you
got
talk to
some
me on
boo.
Friday?
Today
did
is
you talk to
Danny
me
Okers'
Friday?
show. The Danny Okers show.
That's
who-
right.
Yeah.
Who he pinned as his stupid show last time we spoke about it. That was awesome.
It's true. Well, it's what I expected from you. We're coming up in 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
It was completely what I would have expected from you.
No, man, I was
Hey,
talking
when-
about another dumb show.
what-
I wouldn't call your
when's your-
show dumb in front of everyone.
Maybe Junkie Nation can help me out. That's definitely a goes move.
What's your dumb show called again?
Yeah, yeah.
Popping off?
Yeah. That seemed completely normal to me.
Right now, you guys, it's colder here than it is in New York.
What?
I know we switched temperatures, 100%.
Why?
I'm in the upper 60s. It's gonna be like mid 70s here by the time the show's over. You guys will warm up though, right? Like it's not supposed to stay cold there.
No,
We'll never
it's
warm
not going
up.
to warm up that much.
What are you guys gonna be like in the mid 40s?
Somewhere around there.
Coming up in a minute. That's not bad.
It is for here, though.
Now you get winter.
It's supposed to be cloudy 2 days, too. So it ain't going to stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah.
Danny, you know something?
What?
Hoy
Coming
día,
up 30.
los gigantes de Inglaterra van a jugar. What'd I just say?
Cause that's funny. Cause that's what I thought.
No. In
No.
Spanish. No, I said today the Giants of England will play. And that is Manchester United, Champions League.
Ooh. Hold on, we're coming up, and Bellator is on the phone. So stand by.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution
Emily, is
is
there and ready to
upon
go?
us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space,
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
we've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology, MMA Junkie Radio, commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Race and Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes. Our ace co-host to my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom. Back east, handling the producing duties, Danny Otto. All right, we're starting off with a guest. That's right. Straight into it. Interviews. We don't normally do this, but we like to work with our friends over at Bellator, and they have a show coming up. So we have a couple fighters from the Bellator 195 card. And we're going to start things off with Emily Ducote, who will be facing Christina Williams at Bellator 185. It takes place on March 2nd. She joins us now on MMA Junkie Radio. Please plug her in, Danny. Hello, Emily. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. It's a pleasure to have you. I'm George. I have Goes and Dan with me, and we're excited to talk to you. Emily, so, you know, most of the time you're winning these big fights, and it's a lot easier to do the interviews when someone's coming off a win. Coming off the loss, you know, the end of last year, how long did it take you to get over it, and how long did it take you to get excited about the prospects of coming back from that and mounting another title challenge?
Right. Losing sucks. It is unfortunately a part of it, but I do believe that, you know, there are lessons you can't learn from wins. So, you know, what I've been doing the last 4 months is going back, learning the lessons from that fight, and just, you know, putting them into effect for this coming fight on March.
Mm-hmm. And as far as McFarland goes, because, I mean, you've lost twice, but, you know, the division is still being formulated. So have you heard anything from the Bellator brass? Like, is that third fight within the realm of possibility, like within, say, 2 or 3 fights, or is it like a long road, like we've seen, you know, with other fighters that have gone 0-2 against a particular opponent?
Right. To be honest, I haven't asked, and they haven't said anything. The rematch, I never asked for. I never talked about. It was just an amazing opportunity that I couldn't pass up. So, you know, it wasn't like I wanted this vengeance, you know, with that fight or anything like that. It was just an opportunity to fight for the, you know, the inaugural title, and that was something I wasn't going to pass up. So as far as a third fight with her, it's not on my mind. I doubt it's on Bellator's mind. There's so many people in the division. So I have no idea. But no, I don't see that happening anytime soon, at least.
Well, you seem in good spirits, and that's a good thing. And it's not like the other fight was a title fight, so that's one thing. Another thing you'll have going for you is it's not like it's an 0-2 in the title fight picture. But anyway, let's focus on Christina Williams. Have you yourself broken her down, or are you one of those fighters that lets the coaches do it and then just take the instructions from them as far as executing the game plan?
Yeah, so I normally watch video, or in that case, we watch all the Bellator fights, so I saw it when it was playing. But normally, yeah, I'll just let my coaches watch the fights, come up with, you know, the strategy, and then just we'll work it in training.
Emily Ducote, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. She's fighting Christina Williams at Bellator 195. It takes place on March 2nd at the WinStar World Casino and Resort in Thackerville, Oklahoma. Goes, what do you have for Emily?
Emily, right now we're in a different era where your opponent can be accessed very, very easily. You can find a lot of her past fights. You can check social media, Twitter, Instagram. You can pretty much know everything she's doing. Do you ever do any of that? Do you ever, just out of curiosity, check Instagram or Twitter and just follow your opponent and just figure out what's going on in their lives?
I used to do that, but now or recently, no, I don't care. Like I said before, the fight game is all about learning and lessons, and sometimes the lessons are hard. And so, you know, over especially my Bellator career, I've learned what is important and what is not. And in my mind, seeing what they're doing or anything like that is just not important. Focusing on myself, my team, and those things are what gives me the positive motivation and encouragement and stuff like that.
What is your routine as you are entering the cage? Is it the same for every fight? And can you maybe share what the last couple thoughts are that go through your mind before a fight?
The warm-up routine is the same, and I go through with all my coaches. We all have like a specific little warm-up that we do. We walk through the back, and it's just kind of crazy. I can't even remember what exactly I think before they open the curtains and I walk out into the cage, but it's the feelings I do remember. It's kind of crazy, and a lot of nerves or things like that running through me. But as soon as I walk up those stairs and walk into the cage, it's kind of like a calm focus, and I'm just ready to go at that point.
Do you prefer being first into the cage and pacing back and forth like a lion that's going to jump on its prey while the other fighter comes in? Or do you prefer being second and letting them go through that as you then come in, knowing that the fight will take place just seconds after you enter the cage?
I don't have a preference, but they are different for sure, because you're standing in there a longer amount of time if you're first. But no, I don't have a preference. Whichever position I'm in, I'll just adjust to it and be ready.
Emily Ducote, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. Again, she'll be fighting on March 2nd at Bellator 195. Now that night, we have a headline bout. It's a championship fight between Darian Caldwell versus Leandro Higo. Caldwell will put up his bantamweight title against the challenger Higo. Dan, Tom, what do you have for Emily?
Emily, I got a question for you. Before I ask you, I'm looking on your Instagram here, and it looks like you're a dog lover, huh?
Yes, I have a soft spot in my heart for dogs, shelter dogs, and all dogs.
Well, we us three here are big dog lovers too, so I definitely wanted to give that a shout. I have a pit bull boxer mix myself, and it looks like you have a pit bull there. That I'm seeing some beautiful dogs there. I just wanted to compliment your little family there.
Thank you. Yeah, my wild dogs.
Well, let me ask you. You were talking about your preparation and mindset going into this. Now, when I look at your record, there's more than just a professional record there. You had a amateur experience, which is really important from whether a fighter's perspective, a matchmaker, or promoter's perspective. Can you talk about some of that amateur or other experiences you have, and how that maybe helped you for today and what you're going through now?
Yeah, I had 6 amateur fights, and basically each fight I can go back and tell you what I learned. The cool thing about fighting, and what I really think is important with amateur fights, is to be able to try and get as many different opponents, different styles as possible, because everybody you fight is gonna give you a different look. Even if they're, if you fight 2 strikers, you're gonna take different lessons from both strikers, regardless of that. And so every fight, amateur, I just feel like it gave me a little bit more experience to be able to deal with those type of people again. But yeah, I really do think that every single fighter, no matter what, is going to give you a different look, a different aspect, and a different lesson. And so with amateur, that's what we were going for. We were going for experience, so that when I did go pro, I would, either have seen it before or have seen something similar and be able to adjust.
Well, that sounds like a really mature and intelligent take. So I got to commend you for that. Especially at your age and where you're at in your career. But B, it sounds like you also have some good people in your corner. I'd like to think from that answer. Do you, or is there anybody you can point to as far as coaches or mentors that's been helping you through this journey? You can really point to.
Yeah, I have my head coach Giuliano Galuppi, and I also have my boxing coach Nikki Brosen. Giuliano has been with me since my first amateur fight, and he'll be with me until my last fight. He's been in every corner, every camp, every day, everything. And so he's somebody I will not fight without. And Nikki Brosen, she came along probably like halfway into my amateur career, and she will also be with me, the rest of my fights. They're extremely important, not just for physical preparation, but for mental preparation, which, as most people say, is more important. And so the both of them are key in my training and my game and everything that I do.
Emily, what are your dogs' names, by the way?
Micah, Maple, and Kimura. And I have the one that looks really pitty, and then I have another pit mix, and then the last one is just like a mix of all things. I don't know.
About 10 years ago, there was a fighter named Matt. Do you remember, Goes? The guy that would shout out his dogs?
Oh, yeah, Wyman.
Matt Wyman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of him, Emily, because he's an Oklahoma guy, I believe. And but anyway,
oh, really?
Yeah, he would shout out his dogs. I know one of them was Batman, and I thought it was hilarious. But you know what? Dog lovers stick together. You know what I mean? So anybody that was a dog lover went, "Oh, that's cool." You know what I mean? And next thing you know, people asked them about it in interviews. So if you ever reach one of those points, you've been in a fight and they're interviewing you afterwards, Big John McCarthy or Chael Sonnen or whatever, and you just can't remember, give a shout out to your dogs. That's like a nice little fallback, and watch and see how much love you get from that. That's just a little pro tip from George over here at MMA Junkie Radio.
He would even order the pay-per-views for them.
I'll remember that.
That's right. Yeah, put it on the Paramount Network as well, so they can watch the dogs. All right, thank you very much for the time.
If they weren't so wild, I might try to bring them. Thank you so much for the questions.
All right, hey, it was really fun to talk to you, right? And good luck with the rest of your preparations, and we'll be tuning in on March 2nd.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you. Bye-bye. Big shout-out to Dan from Bellator for hooking those up. CJ as well. CJ lined them up. Dan patched them in, so thank you to those guys. Always great working with them. She seemed like really, really cool and like calm, and I liked the way she answered her interviews. Yeah.
Yeah, early on.
Or
she had
her
really
responses.
Which one do you think was her favorite dog? It's got to be Kimura, right? That's a lock.
Aha, I like it. Well, Maple's got to be kind of sweet, so I'm sure she gets along with him.
Dan, do you remember the third one?
You
asked.
It's gonna be Kimura, Maple, and I think it was like a regular name, like Micah. Micah.
Yeah,
That's it. That's
there
Micah.
was a Micah, yeah.
I'm gonna say Maple though, because if I'm guessing, there was a kind of a maple colored the pit bull. I had probably the most character out of all three of the dogs, and that one I think had a little bit more selfies than the other dogs. So I'm guessing that one was called Maple because of its color. So I would go with Maple.
What if she would have thrown you off your game and said, "Well, you obviously didn't do your research because all 5 of them bit me. I fucking hate dogs." What would you have said?
I've been like, that's about time to hit the old dusty trail.
Back to Goes.
Goes, what do you have?
What's a blue nose pit bull? What makes it? His nose isn't actually blue, right? What makes?
Oh, it's got to be right. Otherwise,
they're just coat. I've seen some at the park, the dog park. Their coat's kind of that darker blue kind of shade to it. It's just a weird.
So there's
like
a shark.
Cool.
There's
really
a shark
cool.
that's like a white fin shark or a something fin.
I don't know why they call it blue nose, but yeah.
I mean, I would imagine, but who knows? All right, so that's one of our 2 interviews scheduled for today, and we have a big window because the last fighter will come in towards the end of the show. It's Joe Warren, the baddest man on the planet. He's also on the same card, Bellator 195. So right now, we're going to keep things going here ourselves, talking about the latest news and matchups that have been made and upcoming fights, previewing, recapping, whatever. But Junkie Nation, this is a great chance for you to call in and participate in the show. 866-522-2846 is the number to call in. All right, so Goes. You never really told us, but how was your days off?
It was fun. I went to El Paso, Texas for the first time, and it was interesting. It was a fun time, but I had a Whataburger.
That's one of the safest cities in the United States. Did it seem that way? Even though one of the most dangerous cities in the world is right across the border, literally 5-10 minutes away, which is Juarez, Mexico.
Everybody said it was safe. I was in pretty good areas, but it was just like every place else. Like it had its rough neighborhoods and its nice neighborhoods, but I didn't feel like I was in trouble or anything like that. Everybody seemed pretty cool and down to earth. But you could see Juarez. It was
a lot of cowboy hats, a lot of boots.
Not as much as you would think, but yeah, you had your fair share.
A lot of Mexican fast food.
Yeah, a lot of Mexican
Did you have
food,
any?
Although I did have,
Yes.
I had a really good place. It was a Mexican buffet,
Uh-huh.
and dude, it was incredible.
Really?
It was really, really good.
What was it called?
I have my Tacos Real.
Okay.
Sounds real legit.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I have my checkoff list when I go into a Mexican place. When I get there, first off, there can't be more than 7 luxury cars in the parking lot. If there's more than 7, pack your bags and go. It ain't out.
That's a smart one. That's a smart one.
When you walk in, you know how they usually have that board on the wall that has the menu? I need something to be scratched off in permanent marker. That tells me that they think about things. They change things up. Whoever works at the place needs to have all of their uniforms need to be 2 sizes smaller than whatever there should be. So if somebody is an extra large person, she better be wearing a medium t-shirt. That's Mexican authentic food.
Like Muna.
You can have like Muna. You can have big screen TVs, but nothing over 40 inches, and only Mitsubishi, Sanyo.
Sanyo.
Yeah, these are the only acceptable ones
Okay.
in a Mexican place, and there better be a soccer game on the tube.
That means they're getting down in the back.
That means whatever. Don't worry about the food. If you see all those check marks, you're in.
Would you like the employees to be speaking English, Spanglish, or Spanish?
I need them to speak just enough English, but with an accent to let you know they've seen some shit. And that place was incredible. You would have loved it.
All right. You said something about Whataburger?
Whataburger. I had Whataburger for the first time. All right, guys.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I am a West Coast guy.
Okay.
And I will fight tooth and nail for West Coast things because I honestly think we grew up in one of the greatest cities of all time. Well, maybe not the city itself, but the area. Here's the thing. I'm not a huge In-N-Out guy. I like it, and I think it's really good, but I don't see it being that much better than a lot of other burgers that you have.
It's you know what In-N-Out
It's
is?
good,
It's
great.
fresh, and no, they themselves have never said come to our spot. You know, we rule. It's nothing like that. It's just a fresh burger. The menu is really, really small, so it's like, hey man, this is what we do. We play our employees great. We're there for you. You know, after a night of partying or whatever, come in here and get everything. Always seems like fresh and delicious. But yeah.
So I went to Whataburger, and I went with your
open mind,
regular open mind, very open mind. I wanted it to be good. I only have so many meals in El Paso, and I'm not gonna sacrifice it for something stupid. So I wanted it to be good. So I got your number 1. That's your go-to. Nope.
They didn't have it?
It's not better than In-N-Out.
Okay.
I would say it's not even close. And it was borderline not even that great. Like, it was a decent burger, but I just don't see... I thought there was going to be some sort of, like, secret sauce or something like that that would make me say, oh, I've never had this before. Dude, it was just like a regular burger you would get anywhere else. People in Texas need to get out more when it comes to fast food burgers. I've never had what's the one that you've been trying to get me to go to? Five Guys.
Yeah,
so you would never you would rename it What a Terrible Burger?
I would name it Is This a Burger?
I can vouch for that. I've been to Whataburger once in my old band days. We went through the lower part of Arizona, which was, I guess, the closest to Texas you can get when you start hitting those joints and establishments. But yeah, I don't remember it being anything too special. It was just like just pretty much a basic burger. Didn't have that crack addiction feel where you want another one, right? Nothing were too special with the fries. I was like,
fries were okay.
Good.
They make their own ketchup, and they had a spicy ketchup that was really good. But other than that, man.
So people in Texas need to calm their nerves.
They need to calm down. Yeah.
And again, you're not saying In-N-Out rules. It's just that those two seem to
But
come up a lot in conversations.
You pair 'em up against each other, yeah.
Oh, the White Castle. I hear a lot about that, and I had it when I was in Tennessee, and I was not impressed either.
But I think those guys say it too. They say, like, I don't know why West Coast people come here and they're dying to have it. It's just
me and George don't like onions though too. So I'm with George, but me and George
The
also
onions,
don't like onions.
I
so
have
I'm
everything
back
without
to
onions, so everything's removed from my case studies, I guess. But I remember having it. But it was late at night, and we had actually eaten at what's the country place called that Juliet likes?
Country Cafe?
No, the one that opened. It's all over the United States.
Oh, Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. So we had eaten there, and on the way out, we saw this spot, and I go, oh man, God, we should have saved just a little bit of room in our bellies for one of these, and I just go, you know what, fuck it. When are we gonna come here again? So, granted, I had just had a dinner, and I just go, just give me a White Castle, the small burger, right? And I just remember having it and going, this is fucking dumb. Like, not even close to, oh man, we instead of going to Cracker Barrel, we should have came here. I just remember going, this is dumb. Like, is there something else on the menu that totally, you know, obliterates that? And I made, you know, a huge mistake. But I don't know. I mean, that's it just gave me the feeling like I just don't need to go back anytime soon.
They're all little burgers, and I guess their purpose is just late night when you're partying.
You have like 8 of them or something.
Pick up, yeah, a bunch of them. But most East Coast people will tell you it's really not that good. I think the movie probably did something for it. You know, Harold.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
White Castle, but they have the Foodie Festival here in Vegas, and it's a bunch of food trucks that show up, like 50 of them, and pay your admission, go in, you could eat what you want, right? Well, they had White Castle set up there, and we didn't have White Castle at the time here. So me and Dante get in line, a buddy of mine, and we get in line, and we probably waited in that line about 15 minutes before we came to a chair. And this chair had a note written on it, and it said 4 hours from this point for the line. Can you believe that shit?
No,
Jesus.
I can't. I mean, I can, but I can't believe.
I still haven't had it. I've had the
people were
frozen
standing
ones.
in it.
Oh yeah, yeah. People were buying
4
it.
hours.
People were buying them by the case, like the way you would get a pizza, you know, like that in a case. And then what they would do is they would go to the area where, like, lunch tables where everybody eats, and they were just selling them to other people that just didn't want to wait for 4 hours. So say you bought like a case for $20, they were like, all right, give me 40, I'll give you the case. And people were doing it. They just get there early.
You cook hamburgers and stuff on your own at home, though, too, right? You're not beyond that because I know you'll fire the grill. But if someone bought you some special hamburgers, frozen patties from Hawaii that were like crack, and you could try for yourself, maybe review here on this show, would you? Would you give them one of the weekends, dust them off?
I would.
All right.
But I don't know that it would do it justice if it's well, I guess if it's frozen. Yeah,
well, that's how you buy them. Is these May's Hawaiian hamburger patties? They're really good. I'm sure our listeners from Hawaii know what I'm talking about. 'Cause I always recommend W&M Burger for hole in the wall because if it goes as criteria, Hawaiians and Asians are very similar. Where if it's too nice, it's probably if it's got too good of a health code listing, no, you don't want to go there. Like that's not where the good foods are going to be at.
Solid tea. And
this place W&M Burgers like this Hawaiian barbecue burgers, and they're like crack. There's literally it's a shack with a window that's open. It's only open from like 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. or till they sell out. So they're only open from a small. So they're going even more hipster than In-N-Out. You know what I'm saying? But you can't tell someone to go to Hawaii. These things though, they sell them in some stores out here. They're frozen and they're really good. But when you can cook them up like on a grill, or I've even had to cook them up on a pan when I'm desperate and do. And that tricking, but I'll pick some up for you guys and drop them off, and we're having this burger talk.
Oh, I forgot also too. When you go to a Mexican restaurant, you need that tablecloth to be old as shit.
Couple holes.
Hopefully, made out of paper. You want it so that if they open up the blinds and sunlight hits it, it disintegrates. That is another sign.
Like a vampire movie.
Yeah, of a good Mexican restaurant.
Oh, I like that. I like those rules.
Well, I've heard, once again, East Coasters, they're always trumping things, but Texans are as well. And I have been wanting to, next time I go to Texas, have some Mexican food and just see if, because they look at us like, oh, now y'all ain't doing it right. Okay, I'll let you have that, and then when I go to Texas, I'll try it. Because that Texans obviously had it in Texas, and they're here having it now, so they can offer that opinion. But if I go that way, you better come strong with a comment like that. And so far, the East Coasters have let me down with fucking pizzas and burgers and some other bullshit. The Bocce burger. I remember. No, I went there. Same thing, thinking this is gonna be legit.
That's out here though, right?
Out here in Vegas,
okay,
and I left disappointed as well. For one, the service was atrocious.
Oh,
and I'm not one of those. Oh, run to Yelp, tattletale. But it was bad. Just because we're talking about it, I'll tell you, it was bad. And then so I thought, well, maybe the food will make up for it. Maybe just someone called in sick. They were understaffed or whatever. It wasn't even a busy day. And I had the burger, and I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
So,
that
anyway.
Mexican restaurant, they would have, it's a buffet, and they had fried eggs, perfectly fried eggs, but they were all had a piece of bacon on top of it.
That
nice,
works.
crispy piece of bacon.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got to chime in on this. Anderson Silva says, regarding his failed USADA test, I'm stupid if I took steroids. I want to ask you guys, do you agree? He kept it simple. Do you agree? Is that what it basically boils down to? not just Anderson, but I guess anybody who's ever been flagged for it and suspended for it. All right, folks, we'll be right back. Stay close.
compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Yes, I like this song.
Today is 2018 or 10 to 18.
This read can wait here.
Danny, have you heard this song?
No, I haven't, but when I listened to it before the show, I told you I liked it.
I can listen to songs from languages that I don't know and still like them.
Me too. Bend It Like Beckham's got some great jams. I'd love to go to a wedding like that.
Punjabi?
Is that what the name of, what's that? The name of the artist or something? Oh, I don't know. So this right here I know is Juanes, and he's a Colombian artist, and if I'm not mistaken, he's won the most Grammys, Latin Grammys, I guess over all Latin American artists. What's that number? I don't know. I'm sure it's the high teens or 20s, I don't know. But do you know why his name is Juanes?
I do, I don't remember.
I went to the concert with Mom and I found out his name is Juan Esteban or something like that. So all it is just his name and the first two letters of the second name. So there you have it. Get the radio channel numbers for NBA, NHL, and college basketball games sent directly to your smart device. Go to SiriusXM.com/sportsnow, then click Add to Calendar. You'll even get links sent directly to... Excuse me, I butchered that. You'll even get the links to listen directly on the SiriusXM app. That SiriusXM app houses the MMA Junkie Radio Show, so if you ever miss portions of it, you can catch it all commercial-free and in HD quality. All right, so Anderson Silva had an interesting comment, and I wanted to see what you guys thought. He kept it really, really simple. Basically, he says, I'm stupid if I took steroids. What do you think of that?
I think it's silly. Why even bring that up? Just go through what you got to go through. I mean, yeah, we get it. You would be stupid if you took steroids. But I wouldn't even present it that way.
He says he said he did not to TMZ.
But don't even present it that way. As a like I would do everything in my power to not even present it as a possibility.
He goes on to say, I will not give up, and he assures his fans, again, quoting here, working very closely with USADA to get to the bottom of everything. But it almost looks like, well, here, I'll continue with what else he said. He says, maybe the supplements I'm using are contaminated. I don't know. I'm just waiting because obviously if I take steroids, I'm stupid because I'm too old. I'm not at the start of my career. I'm at the finish. You're right. What I don't like is it allows the public to just butcher and chop up what you're saying. Just to condemn you even worse.
People are going to say,
it's almost like saying,
because you are old.
Yeah, or they could be saying, oh, so if you were young, it wouldn't be stupid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Don't even present it that way.
I believe this is the second time he's talked to TMZ, and it's just not working out. It seemed like the first time he got a pass, there was the dick pill thing, and there was a broken leg, and look, man, if you had one, because really, I can think of Tyrone Spong, which it was in kickboxing, but we got to know him as an MMA fighter. Corey Hill, and that's it. Anderson Silva. Those are the only leg breaks, right? Like something so devastating that you start to wonder, in his rehab process, is there something that could have got mixed in there? And he was so great. He never really had the physique of someone that's yoked out, no one ever just suspected it. Everyone just felt like he was just an amazing athlete. And so now the second time is where now there's a huge eyebrow, like, wait a minute, hang on a second, and it's really, really killed him as far as his respect from the peers, media, and fans. But yeah, I guess just going off that headline, he would be stupid because, especially in the USADA era, I just want to concentrate on the USADA era. A, you're coming off one. B, it's the USADA era where we're 2 years in, and he's got resources. Even if you were the laziest athlete out there, you could probably pay somebody a lot of money and just go, hey, look all this shit up for me. You know, or call Jeff Nowitzki or call whoever and just make sure all this crap works. You know, works with
so much on the line that it's not worth going through that.
There's other athletes that actually talk to Nowitzki themselves. They don't let anyone else get involved. They like to take control of their careers. Kevin Lee does that. I know Frank Trigg is one of those that's always asking questions. But if you were lazy, you have the resources to do it, and you have the experience from the first failed test. So, yeah, I'd have to agree that you would be stupid. But aside from that, I think others would just say, man, I'm not here to tell you you're dumb or anything like that. I'm here to tell you I'm just disappointed. This is a black mark. Now, this all has to get sorted out. Let's give them that. But what I've seen is from USADA is you're still going to get a suspension, which can be retroactive, but the most USADA is going to say is, you know what, there was a contamination, but you still should have known better. So here's 6 months. I saw that with Yoel Romero. I think Tim Means may have gotten a similar sentence, but it's still just something that'll float out there, and for many, it'll just tarnish a lot of what he did.
Oh, for a lot of people, yeah. I mean, you kind of have to. You're right. It's still getting sorted out, but strike one is what makes everyone not really necessarily want to wait for that.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to have an opinion now because you've already gone through this.
What do you think, Dan?
My answer, surprisingly for me, is a short one. I just think it's a stupid answer, so maybe he is stupid in that sense. And I hate to say that about the best fighter in the world, but it's just, or at one time to consider to be, but it's really frustrating. This isn't new. He's the master of the frustrating answer. And I don't know if it's something to do with the baddest men on the planet not being the best at answering questions, but that seems to be a common theme in our sport. Everybody has their own different style. Anderson Silva, just like he had his own style of striking, he has his own individual style of answering questions, and unfortunately they're the polar opposite as far as what we find humorous, likable, or what we frankly even want to stomach at this point. And this is coming from a fan.
I want to also ask you guys one more thing about Anderson Silva, but first we're going to take this call from Brandon. I'll ask the question so it'll marinate with you two.
Cool.
But we always talk about GOAT. Hey, who's the greatest? You know, and so we run to check the records and come up with these KO stats or submission stats or streaks or titles or whatever. But what I want to know from you two is who's the greatest ever in terms of you just enjoyed watching them perform, even if they took a loss. You still just felt like they have this most amazing arsenal of tools, you know, and therefore you enjoyed watching them for that reason. In the meantime, we'll talk to Brandon from Louisville. If you want to follow Brandon, it's 866-522-2846. What's up, Brandon? How you doing?
Goes, I think you just declared war on the state of Texas. Menard says you can say what you want about his girlfriend and his wife, or his wife. I hope he doesn't have both, but do not disparage his Whataburger.
Get real. What, dude?
It wasn't even close, you're saying, right?
It wasn't even close. I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Unless there's another burger, but I went with your number one combo. Like it tasted like any other type of lazy burger.
So just like Anderson Silva and the statement he made, if Aaron Menard thinks Whataburger's good, he's stupid?
Yeah, I'm probably going to delete his number right now off of my phone.
Just based off stupidity.
Yeah. I cannot have a conversation with this human being.
Yeah. In fact, Aaron, your career is flourishing as a referee. According to Goes, your credibility might be at stake if you think Whataburger is a great burger, and the Texas Commission may not want a stupid ref.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, you should really get away from that. You know what I mean?
Somebody call in. That's
stupid refs are going to have stupid stoppages and make stupid decisions, and so if he's saying it, and he definitely has, I guess he's kinder than I would be, then it must just be a garbage burger. Continue, Brandon.
I will co-sign on the White Castle as a guy who has lived around them his whole life. 9 times out of 10, they are just the most worst burger ever. But that 1 time out of 10, when you're really, really wanting them, they are the best thing in the world. It's hard to explain. I think it's because they're cheap and because they're really the first thing open 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So
maybe in a drunken stupor, you can just down 4 of them, right, with a chocolate shake and go, oh, that was a win. for me before you crash into
Well,
your bed.
if you look at like regular McDonald's, right? I could probably eat a bunch of their cheeseburgers and still be happy. It's not like their go-to burger or anything. It's just a cheeseburger, but they're good. I think that's what the purpose they serve.
That is a tasty burger.
All right.
So let's go ahead and take care of it. We're talking about tarnished legacies and everything. You know what? I'm still blaming the 2013 best basketball team there was, because we call the NCAA champs anymore. But you know what? I still got a hat that says national champ. I still got photographs from my trip to Atlanta to see them. I still have the ticket stub in the Sports Illustrated. So you guys tell me, did John Jones not beat Daniel Cormier twice?
He did. I saw that. I saw both fights actually in person, and I saw one man defeat the other. But as far as the second one's concerned, for me, man, it just, I don't know. I got to see everything play out, and apparently it'll happen pretty soon, and see what is actually said about all these substances and everything, But I'm telling you, man, when there's any sort of a shred of doubt between high-level athletes, and if one of them had some sort of an advantage, fuck yeah, for me it makes a difference. Daniel was very honest. He said, "Man, I got knocked out. We can't erase that. That really happened. The dance guard got punched, and that's why he had to wait a little bit to kind of get away from that. He wasn't going to take a matchup like within 2 months or anything like that. He had to get away from that KO, and maybe that one's so damaging that it could affect him down the future. I doubt it. It's not like he has many of those. Who knows how many he's had in practice or in wrestling. But either way, man, if there's any shred of evidence towards there just being an advantage, that's a disappointment to me, and that does count.
Well, I think we can all agree that cheesy-ass strippers are not an advantage in basketball.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Been a rough
And
time,
us buying, and some agent buying Reggie Bush's parents a house didn't make us better on the field either. Same thing with the strippers. It maybe, I guess one could say, enticed athletes to go there, but I don't think that's the final thing, right? Oh, fuck that hookers, what I mean? No, man. Can the guy coach? Are the facilities great? And have you recruited other great players? All right, cool. I don't know. I don't see that being as a tiebreaker, but those rules are out there, and that's what's going to happen. But it can't take away from the happiness and the joy you had when they did win it. So carry that with you. You know what I mean?
If anything, I think it's a disadvantage. Can you imagine the diseases a hooker from Kentucky would have? Probably slows down your immune system to still be able to win after that. Props to them.
Are you saying they're going raw dog over there?
They gotta be, right?
Yeah. All right, Brandon. Thanks for the call, my man. What is he, farting into the phone or what? What is all that?
I don't know.
Stepping on a duck? Marco from Waco. What's up, bud?
Marco from Waco. ¿Qué pasa, Atos?
¿Qué pasa?
I cannot wait for the... that became a tagline, a meme, crazy deal. I cannot wait for freaking the University of Alabama to have a scandal so they can erase all their freaking national championships, man.
Oh, I hope so.
I hate those fuckers. But, dude, I don't know, man. I still think John Jones is the best ever. Whether, I mean, the guy got the dubious record of being stripped 3 times of a title. The first time when he saved the lady, then the Internet Championship from OSP, and the last time when he regained the title on Cormier. So, I mean, Conor McGregor is going to be right behind him after they split in April. But the guy, the performances are there for everyone to be seen, man. The way he dominated, the way he went through the competition, he really didn't lose to Mark Hamill. That is freaking Steve Mazzagatti inserting himself on the fight, and the fight John Jones was winning. The guy has never lost. And even on the ones that don't count on the record, we saw with our own eyes the guy won the freaking fight, man. Even DC freaking commented in that way. So John Jones, the GOAT, dude. I don't care. I just don't care.
I agree with Marco. I don't think John Jones beat Mark Hamill either.
Yeah.
Matt Hamill. Mark Hamill's the... Oh, okay.
Sorry, I had to, Marco. I know what you meant. I had to. I'm sorry. Low-hanging fruit.
I It's a Tuesday, baby, with lack of sleep because of the 2-year-old Kenny Apple match.
Wednesday,
That's all I got for
Wednesday,
today, guys.
pendejo.
Peace out.
All right, we'll see.
You think Ollie's saying, "Hey, see, he's probably listening
He's
to
crazy.
everyone."
He doesn't even know his days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, most exciting athlete, most exciting GOAT for you. And now you can set aside PEDs if they were on it. Fuck it.
I mean, I guess it's got to be John Jones, but I think that's the easy one. So I'm gonna go with Kazushi Sakuraba. Was the funnest for me to watch.
So he just gave you a level of entertainment where
Yeah, pre, post, and the fight, I was always happy.
Danto.
My choice is going to be obvious, but I will argue that it's apropos to our current climate in MMA of super fights and especially lighter divisions, trying to bring things to those lighter divisions, and a guy who you can never accuse, this PED, even guys like Anderson Silva, who we idolize, got caught for PEDs. I think BJ Penn is still that one guy on the list that even if you weren't a fan of his, you can't take away that he was the most courageous fighter to ever step in there. He wasn't relying on politics, money, control, leverage to get his things. He went out and he would go up weight classes. He would go to Japan to fight guys at heavyweight, or he would go and make a fight, his own fight promotion, where most fighters do that in boxing or MMA. They're bringing in cans so they can look good. No, he brought in the #1 lightweight Takanori Gomi, the guy that the UFC couldn't get. He facilitated and made it himself. He's doing the opposite of what we accuse boxers to what we accuse MMA guys of this time. And he did it for the love of fighting. We need guys like that. We need those champions that are willing to go and do these fights. And guess what? Not only was he willing to do the grand things, he was willing to step back. Even when all that talk was swelling of super fights, he said, no, this guy Frankie Edgar deserves his shot. I'm going to give him his shot. And he even said after Frankie Edgar beat Sean Sherk, that's the next champion, to Mike Straka at Fox Sports, ended up being the next champion, gave him his shot. Frankie Edgar now has this great career. Those are the guys that we need, and that's why I always point to Randy Couture and BJ Penn. Their records might not be great, but those are real fighters.
And the lick in the blood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Jesus.
And then the entrance
you get
itself,
the Rock,
the song,
I mean, there was a lot of iterations of, celebrities coming, but you'd have The Rock, Jason Statham, when they would go to the things, they'd give the cheap wave, but when those guys do it, they'd be like, BJ Penn, mouthing it to the camera. Like, what other celebrity would do that for a fighter? Like, this guy inspired a lot of people, I think.
Mm-hmm. For me, I think it was Anderson Silva. Man, I felt like when I watched him, he was like a dad playing his son in basketball, and the son just couldn't possibly beat him until he had the growth spurt and either became a teenager or an adult. I don't know. Whenever it was that a son finally beats his dad, I mean, just backing him down, like the kid's reaching and everything, and then you can't stop it. I got a couple feet on you or whatever. And that's what it looked like. I mean, like, he was just messing with people out there. He really made it fun, bobbing his head, telling people to hit him on the chin. Of course, it came back to bite him, and maybe that was age and a bit too much ego. But when just that one run that he had was pretty amazing, man. I don't know that I mean, it's not like upon exiting, he was just a little bit like. He was more about the body language and the facial features, and at first he couldn't even talking English, and then towards the end he started talking a little bit more. But there was something to watching him fight. Now, he did lay some duds. There was a couple fights where you're like, come on already, turn it on. You're way better than this guy. I'm not saying he's way better than Damian Maia, as an MMA fighter. I mean, he's better. He was a bigger fighter. They wound up in different divisions. But Damian, at one point, they were just standing. And so he was a way better striker, is my point. Or come on, you should be making a poster out of this guy. He's not taking you down. Do something, I don't know, man. I just really got that type of enjoyment out of him. John Jones was I also enjoyed him.
You never knew
but
what he was going to do.
I didn't feel like he flowed like Anderson. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Now, he was pretty vicious, once he did put you in them comfort spots, boom, crushing elbows, like the way he picked up, spinning back elbows, the way he picked up Machida and then just dropped them, there was a nasty side to him, in that regard. But pre-fight and post-fight, I was also in agreement it sounded fake, So I guess I never really got this feeling like, that's my guy, you know what I mean? Anyway, all right. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. Stay close, and we'll be right back.
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been, and because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
It's the Impossible Springsteen ticket, and we're giving them away to SiriusXM subscribers. SiriusXM's East Street Radio is filling all the seats for the March 14th performance of Springsteen on Broadway. Grand prize winners will get air, hotel, and tickets to this exclusive show. For official rules and to enter, go to SiriusXM.com/Springsteen. No additional purchase is necessary. I'm going to make Oreo wait just a few more minutes. We only got like 2, and who knows if he wants to...
That's out of respect, though.
Yeah. If he wants to talk a bit longer or whatever. On the front page of MMA Junkie, the latest rankings for USA Today Sports and MMA Junkie has been released. Some movement there for James Vick. Also, UFC on Fox 28, the broadcast team for this Saturday's event on Big Fox will be John Anik and Daniel Cormier. I really, really like that pairing. Co-main event podcast, they're closing in on episode 300. Our own Ben Folks, along with his friend from Bleacher Report, Chad Dundas. They co-host it, and it drops on our website every Tuesday. Michael Chiesa, who was a guest of ours, guest co-host, actually, in our studio the other day, he... there's a recap there by Mike Bond. Check that out. How he plans to reinvent himself as he faces Anthony Pettis at UFC 223. UFC on Fox 28. Pre-event facts, including Jessica Andrade as the UFC's most active female fighter. Mike Bond again, along with Abby Subhan, working that one. All right, we will be back in a few minutes. It's just used to be our sports update. It's just another commercial at the top of the hour. We'll come back. We'll take some calls. 866-522-2846. We'll also do our daily debate. If you want to get a peep at the question, go to @MMA Junkie. It's our Twitter handle for the website. Check it out, and you'll get an idea of what we're talking about. Sorry, the The voting has already ended. It usually ends at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You usually have a couple hours, but a couple grand are usually getting in there every day. So, like I always say, check that Twitter handle as well as the website every half hour, because something's always popping on our website. All right, folks, we'll be right back after this break.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up. Hear a knock on the door and the night begins. Cause we've done this before, so you come on in. Make yourself at my home, tell me where you've been. Pour yourself something cold, baby, cheers to this. Sometimes you gotta stay in, and you know where I live. Yeah, you know what we is. Sometimes you gotta stay in. Welcome to my house, baby, take control now. We can't even slow down. We don't have to go a while. Welcome to my house, play that music too loud. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go a while.
Alright, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Let's talk to Oreo in Alberta, Canada. What's up, Oreo? How you doing?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good, man. How about you?
Good, good. Hey, George, I really loved your interview yesterday with Ali Abdelaziz. You pressed him enough, but you didn't, it was a good back and forth. You pressed him when you needed to, and you let him speak his case when you needed to. I just really admire that when you question managers like that, and hopefully you bring more managers on more often so you could do that type of interview.
Well, thanks. Ali's, you just need him. You just need to give him some time to express himself, and when he does, I catch him saying things where, kind of like a pro wrestling manager will say, where he definitely pumps up his guys, And then as he's saying it, he'll also slow down and give respect or say the right things that he needs to. So he's also learned how to express himself a little bit more. He has more time to do it here on the show versus on Twitter. On Twitter, a lot of people don't like the way he comes off, but you only have the 280 characters. Thank God. I mean, when it was 140, you really had to make your point. So I know he catches a lot of heat, but here on the show, you talk it out, and the good thing is now we have a relationship of going back quite a few years, and he knows that if we're pressing or challenging, it's because we also have our opinions, but I think we're also trying to convey what most fans and other media also feel, not just us having this feeling like, oh, well, my opinion's correct, not yours. So it's really cool. We really enjoyed having him, and he participated in our daily debate, which we'll do soon. He also did a breakdown with us, man. So we had a great time with Ali. I'm not sure we got to everything, because he's got quite a stable of fighters, and hopefully we can just talk to him again soon.
Yeah, man. So I wish you would have talked to him and other high-powered managers about the, about the Project Spearhead that Leslie Smith is starting up.
I have heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, like, what do you guys think about that? Do you think it's just another failed attempt, or do you think you can, get some legs? It can get some legs and get the fighters to not necessarily a union, but do something, because I mean, yeah, they're getting good money in the UFC and all, but they're not getting like the TV revenue. They're getting nothing out of that, And I know, there's some debate whether they're independent contractors or employees or whatever, but they don't have somebody at the table to negotiate, and they don't have much leveraging power. So do you think, something like this will get them that, or do you think it's just another failed attempt?
I think she's got great ideas, but I don't think it's realistic in this sport, at least not for the foreseeable future. You have to get the big names involved, but the big names are so far out there above all this and comfortable that I don't know that they have the unselfishness, to stand united with someone that only makes 10 and 10.
We saw George St. Pierre.
Yeah, that one had some traction. It looked like it. It looked like it. You had some big names there. Current and former champions. I think they had the right guy in Bjorn. Maybe not out up front, but as far as the knowledge of being a promoter for at least 5 years or so, and knowing where promotions make money, where a lot of us don't know. So I thought they had a pretty good formula, and look, that one didn't work. I just don't see it, Oreo, because in this country, unions and associations are a big deal, but I don't even know what the percentage of the roster is of fighters that are just from this country. I think of the 600 athletes or so, I think a little bit more than half are from the United States and Canada, but you just got so many others that are worldwide, and some of them that really, really need that paycheck. So are they really going to not do anything? But I think the way here's my idea for I thought about this, how I think they could get it started is you get a Dan Lambert from ATT and you get a Greg Jackson, and you have two guys come together and say, hey, you talk to your team, I'll talk to my team, and see if just the feedback from your own gyms, if you guys would stand with us to stop working for a while. And I think if gyms can kind of start that way, then I think you can be a lot more impactful, because I think there's a real camaraderie amongst teammates. They're always pushing for each other when someone's fighting on social media, and they're always there to pick them up when they lose or pat them on the back when they win. So there's that camaraderie, and then there's also those guys have been in the sport for so long, and they're big teams. So now you're talking about probably like 80 American top team fighters and maybe another 50 to 60 Jacksons. So that's about 25%. And if other teams see that, maybe Alpha Male or whatever, and they all of a sudden they come in, or maybe you pull in more teams, then maybe you could catch the UFC's attention. But without them having like a big collective group, then it just doesn't seem realistic to me.
It's going to take a lot of sacrifice in a very selfish sport, because And it's another one of those careful what you wish for scenarios, right? How long did we want fighters to get paid more? And now look at the situations that we're in that fans bitch about. You're probably going to see something like that. I would imagine step one for the UFC is, all right, you know these nice cushy bonuses we give you for fight of the night and all that? That's just going to go away. So a lot of things like that are going to hurt the fighter, and fighters need to be prepared to be hurt now for things to get better later. And unfortunately, they may not be part of the class that benefits from it.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, I keep a healthy skepticism to that amongst pretty much anything, whether it's a matchup or whatever. And I definitely hear what these guys are saying, and it's true. That's going to be the ultimate bridge. But if you listen to Leslie Smith talk about it, I'll tell you what I like about this, what they're doing different than a lot of the other ones, where they're keeping it anonymous. They're not having some figurehead like a Bjorn Rebney or some other Yahoo with, like, you know, alternate motives. And they're keeping it really in tight to the fighters to where they're not letting this information out for protection of the fighters, because you got to imagine that's the thing, whether we're talking about protecting their money if they're on the top scale like you guys are talking about, or just their job. That is obviously the main bridge to cross. So they're doing that part right. If they can keep doing that, like, again, I don't know the ins and outs just from what Leslie Smith has said, since that's what you're asking, but you know, as far as that, I do like that part, and I also like it because of this. Is not only does it not incriminate, but it actually, you know, as Leslie was explaining, helps protect the fighters, where, you know, with federal laws in place to where if you are working with the union or conspiring for these kind of efforts, it's actually not illegal, and it's actually can be a big no-no if you know, feel like you're being persecuted through your work or anything else. Which, again, I don't think that's how the UFC likes to operate, but at the same time, there are clearly a amount of fighters who tell a different story. You know, Chris Wade is one who I was real high on, that guy, lightweight fighter. You look at his record, who he was fighting, and I'm like, why isn't this guy getting better spots, better matchups? What's going on? He comes out with his own issues. That's his own story. I'm not weighing in on the merits of that, but I am saying for situations like that, it would be nice, you know, if these fighters did have a little more protection, to where, hey, you know, and they don't have to worry about their jobs or forced to, you know, make these moves, and so yeah, I think it's a good thing. Will it amount to anything? I don't know, man. It's going to come to the bridge that these guys just explained.
Thanks, boss, for calling in, man. Great topic to discuss. I've always said that the one thing about this sport is, you know, it's individual, and collectively the fighters have so much more strength than standing individually, because there just doesn't seem to be one fighter that has the clout to just not fight, and that's almost starting to include Conor McGregor. He hasn't fought in 16 months. Okay, he fought in 2016, and Dana White was very clear that 2017 was their biggest year ever. Now, he did box for them, so obviously there was a, you know, generated income from that. So maybe that alone helped out. Excuse me. Their bottom line, I don't know, but you know, we're a couple months in. There's no sign of Conor coming back. They'll just have to develop their new stars. You know what it is, dude? Is I think the UFC model, as is, without the $1 million pay-per-views, makes money. Remember how much they took, all the salaries they took off just from, you know, no more private jets or limiting the private jets and all these executive salaries. Yeah. So for one, they saved money there. You know, they kind of turned the page there, and then obviously they have more business minds, you know, sports entertainment minds there, working things. But okay, here I'll try and make it as simple as possible. The UFC is a business that can make a lot of money going forward, even without $1 million pay-per-views, or $1 million pay-per-views, or $1 million pay-per-view stars. So whether it's 400,000, 500,000, I mean, the higher the better. That's what makes them happy. But remember, all it takes is about, I think it's 125 or 150, and that show's making money. So anything after that is a moneymaker for them. Of course, they'd rather go, we made 800,000, not 300,000. Of course they would, you know, and when that happens, it's awesome. So this is a business that can make a lot of money for the next few years, even if they just sell 300 and 500 and 800 and 200 and 400 and 350 and 450 and 250 and 250 and 275 and 325. Doesn't matter. They're going to make money, all right? Even occasionally, oh man, 125, that's it. Okay, they're gonna make money. But when the Rondas or the Conors or someone comes along, or a GSP comeback or a super fight or something comes along, that's just additional great revenue that they happen to come across. But I don't believe they necessarily need it. It just helps keep stacking paper. but the business can make money off of the other amounts that I gave. So therefore, they don't really need them. You know, if all right, Kane hasn't fought. GSP only fought the one time. And who are the other ones? TJ,
Donald
Cowboy,
Cerrone,
and who?
And was it Tim Kennedy?
And Tim Kennedy. Tim Kennedy's retired. GSP probably won't fight again. I just don't see it. Kane, I mean, we haven't seen him much in the last few years. TJ and Donald Cerrone, you know, they're popular. One's a champion, and let's just give them that. I don't know that either one's a pay-per-view star, but let's just say all 5 of them said we are not fighting. You know, I guess we would have missed out on GSP versus Bisping.
TJ and Cody.
And yeah, TJ and Cody, which was also part of the same card.
Donald and everyone.
But the business would have still kept going. So there you have it. I mean, that's 5 pretty big names.
But do you think that it's that thought that they're having, and that's the problem of this? So do you think that thought is short-sighted? Because it's true. What you said was true. They don't need it. We can still make money. Cutting this gets a certain amount of money. All we have to do is get past a certain amount to consider a profit. Like, that's all true. But I guess what I'm asking is, do you think that obviously that's kind of their business-minded, their business guys, not a stretch to stereotype them that far? Do you think it's that type of short-sighted thinking that is hurting the business? I mean, that's an opinion that I share, and many others out there. I mean, it kind of falls into the oversaturation.
I think at some point they've accepted that they will have to have that an association will come along, and they will give up more of their revenue, maybe closer to what we see in the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball, whatever. I think they've accepted that one day, but until then, let's just keep stacking paper.
I don't even think that's the big demon that's coming. I think the big demon that's coming
lawsuits.
is CT.
Or you know, I also believe, and of course I don't wish this on anyone, but everyone says all it takes is one weight cutting, you know, something to go bad and a death, and that'll be it. No, it won't be it. It still has proven itself to be a pretty safe sport, especially, you know, what's happening in the octagon. Yeah, outside the octagon, there could be some things, but you know, they donate a lot of money and pay a lot of money for a lot of the studies that are out there. They say the right things to encourage their athletes to not just, you know, go out there fight. Although the Bisping thing kind of bothered me a little bit. I don't think it's as simple as, hey, go have a doctor tell you you're all right, and then we'll do it. I think at some point there just has to be a certain amount of time. Hey, look, you know, we can't have you fighting for another 3 to 6 months. Whatever degree it is, our doctors will check you out and tell you. But a 3-week turnaround, that can't happen. I don't care if 3 doctors gave him the blessing. It's just, it seems to me with everything that's been funneled through hockey and boxing and the NFL, that just can't be good.
Yep.
I'm glad he didn't fight in London. I know Bisping wanted that kind of a send-off, but there will be other fights in the UK, and he'll be able to do that, and whoever the opponent is then, God bless him. He deserves something like that.
Yeah.
But it just didn't need to happen that soon after Gastelum got his hands on him too. So anyway, all over the place here a little bit. Thank you again, Oreo, for the call. If you want to call in, it's 866-522-2846. How about Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou? When you guys see that headline on MMA Junkie, what are you thinking? Like, one guy's coming off a win and one guy's coming off a loss, but when you're talking about high-ranked players, I guess it doesn't really matter as much as it used to. But would you like to see that from those guys, or?
I felt like it's just a matchup. It was only a matter of time.
Well, let's start from the top. Actually, Miocic. If Miocic wins, who do you think would be next? The winner of Ngannou and Lewis? Maybe not, because Ngannou just fought, right? Does he need to just win one and he's back there? I don't think he deserves that. Now, if it was Lewis, then yeah, I think Lewis could be next for Miocic. It's a fresh matchup, and he would only have the Hunt hiccup, you know, in the past few years. And if DC wins, then maybe Miocic gets his rematch or whatever, because he's been a champion who's defended. But as far as like who is chasing the champion, let's just call Miocic the winner, and DC goes back to light heavyweight or retires. But let's use Miocic, the incumbent right now. Who is chasing him right now, and how do we line them up?
I think Fabricio Verdum is one of those guys that's always in the talks.
Yeah.
It really hurts him, though, that fight was in Brazil, because I feel like a rematch being sold could get sold better if it were in Brazil. You know, now he's going to get his rematch, but it's in his hometown. Like, he pretty much had the perfect scenario going for him the first time. So for him to fail in that, I think hurt him a little bit. But he's one of the guys that's definitely chasing. And Derek Lewis, I mean, he's right there and he's exciting. And he's one of those guys that I think is breaking through this year. I think 2018 is going to be his year. He's been able to show that he's been able to defeat different types of fighters, and I think he's still getting better. So it's definitely a matchup. But the question is, do you want him to fight Ngannou? And that's tough because you're right. If Ngannou beats him, it's a good win, but I don't know that it'll stand out as maybe him beating someone else.
I prefer Blades versus Ngannou. Because if Blades wins, he gets over off of Ngannou's name. And then for sure, with the streak he has, he deserves a title shot. If he doesn't, I think Blades is young enough where he can overcome the loss. He got checked by the veteran, and then, you know, he continues his push, and that's a great win for Ngannou. I don't know if it's enough to get him another shot. I don't know that we need to see it right away. I think Ngannou probably should get 2 wins before getting another title shot.
I think a great name that I wish was available right now would be a Junior Dos Santos. I think that would be a good fighter for either one of those guys to just kind of.
I think he comes off with a suspension if it goes down as one. I'm sure he's got an appeal process to go through, but I think sometime in August is when he got flagged. So you're looking at 2019 August before he's in the picture. Ben Rothwell, you're looking at May of 2019 before he's in the picture. And Josh Barnett, you're looking at about, if I'm not mistaken, it was December of last year. You know, but all those guys are starting to push 40.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Roy fought well the other night, and 40 might just not be a number we worry about as much when it comes to heavyweights. And then, of course, Kane. Where's Kane? You know, what's going on with him?
Well, that's what I was going to say. My answer's short and sweet. Kane and Verdum sweepstakes. That's the only names that make sense. Kane and Verdum sweepstakes. Who can get there
first? Kane's last win was Travis Brown at UFC 200, right?
Yep.
He looked awesome.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I mean? But we're 15 months or a year and a half removed from that. So when he comes back, do you just give him the winner of, or Miocic if he wins, he's not going to fight DC? Or do you say, hey, you got to get another win, man, and remind everyone what a badass you are?
I think this one is too much circumstance for it not to. I mean, you have the circumstance of you have a not-so-deep division, which we've seen just that circumstance alone is enough to grant a guy a title shot, being at the right place at the right time, in other words. But you also have the super fight kind of angle where, oh, but this is not a super fight. It's not a big money name with a make no sense. Yeah, okay, maybe it's not a super fight as far as we know it. But if we're really going to talk about a super fight, a fight that's just fucking super, makes fucking sense, pardon my French, how does Stipe and Kane not fit your bill?
That would be amazing.
Where have you been the last 6 years when this guy Stipe was coming up and Kane was the one guy that we were comparing him to, even when we didn't know, or some of us didn't even think Stipe was going to be as good as he is? That was still a name that was attached. So anybody who's been following the sport, it has to want to see that fight, right? Am I crazy here for wanting to see that?
Yeah, I wanted to see it. I just wanted to see it a little bit closer to UFC 200, where you could go, did you see what he just did? Rather than, man, he hammered him, but when was that? Like, that distant memory, you know? I love that momentum that a fighter can carry within a 6-month frame.
Good point.
Whether if the fight happens in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6, I'll even get to about 8, you know? But something about when you get past that, well, other fighters are doing shit too, and you just start to wonder, could this one sell better and just make more sense? But you got to give respect to Kane and what he's done. So I think he's a hot ticket at any point.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And who does Verdum have here in London?
Volkov.
That's a tough fight for him too. But I mean,
that would be 3 wins for Verdum coming off the Overeem loss. He would deserve a title shot at that point, in my opinion.
I think so.
Volkov would be like 5 wins or something. He's got a
really?
He's got a good streak.
He's a dark horse in this division too, that guy.
Yeah, so
100%.
He would probably be where like Derek Lewis would be right now, I think.
All right. Let's take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. We'll be right back in a few minutes, and we're going to talk about our daily debate question. I'll give you a preview of what it was. Again, the voting already closed, and for those that want to participate in the voting, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on MMA Junkie's Twitter handle, we post our question, and we leave it up there for a couple hours, and then we close it at 1 p.m. Eastern Time as the show's starting, and then that way we can discuss it amongst the panel that we've assembled for the day. Usually it's just us three, but as of late, we've had a lot of fighters and managers and other notables coming in, chiming in, so it's been a lot of fun to do. Today's question is, would you be interested in an Anderson Silva and Roy Jones boxing match? Don't forget, when we come back and discuss it, you can also take your calls and get your thoughts and opinions. Also check the chats, Facebook and YouTube. Is YouTube up?
It looks like YouTube's having an internal problem.
All right. Well, I'll check whatever chats are available and see what they're saying. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93.
Up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right. B-A, start. You told me that code would get rid of them. Yeah, well, they're still here. Okay, but now they know I tried to kill them. Hold on, Mom. Here are George and Goes.
Start your day with SiriusXM. Enable the SiriusXM skill on your Amazon device. Then tell Alexa to set an alarm for your favorite channel. You'll wake up to the sounds of SiriusXM. With SiriusXM and Alexa, you can get the latest sports news each morning without picking up your phone or turning on the TV. All right, now it's time for the daily debate. Let's get to it. So earlier we put up on our Twitter page at MMA Junkie the following question. Would you be interested in an Anderson Silva versus Roy Jones boxing match? Goes!
It would be interesting. I would watch it. However, how many times do we need to feed a mixed martial artist to a boxer, a good boxer, in his own backyard before we start to lose the credibility of what's going on in mixed martial arts? James Toney came over. He got taught a lesson in MMA, but not a lot of people remember that. You can even go back to Ray Mercer, and he taught Tim Sylvia a lesson. But how many times are we going to keep doing this? I'm going to probably need a boxer to come over and step into the octagon after this fight, but I probably wouldn't send another guy after that.
I always say that if these athletes have the opportunity to make some money, if a promoter out there and a bunch of fans are willing to pay, God bless them. Let them do it. But what I don't want is the active champions or the active superstars to take 3 months out of their lives to go do something else just because, again, it's putting, stacking paper in their pockets. No, man, if you're a champion, you better be defending your UFC belt or your Bellator belt or whatever. I want you here in our sport. The Conor McGregor thing with Floyd Mayweather, it was just, I guess, just two planets colliding, man, is the best way I can put it. Two big names in two different sports. It had to happen, fine, but we're way past that. Both of these guys are well past their prime in their sports. It wouldn't interrupt anything. I'm in.
I'm a little more of a traditionalist, as you may know, and of course I want to see people defend their titles, and I want the sport to grow as far as MMA. So, yeah, like what Go said, I don't know how many times we can keep selling them tickets. We can keep getting people who come through the tent to see this little trick. I'm not sure if that is the right Band-Aid for the wound at hand, so to speak. But I will say, call me crazy, guys, I actually wouldn't mind seeing Anderson Silva face Roy Jones Jr., given the stage of his career where he's at. This is one both have expressed interest to for some time, and I'd be down.
There you have it. All right. We're all in.
Hey,
let's continue here.
To add a little bit to that.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, look. I think the way that mixed martial arts can capitalize on something like that, where if Conor McGregor, to get those eyes from boxing that we're always talking about, if he would have immediately signed a fight and created buzz for his next MMA fight, I think then boxing fans would go, oh, I want to tune into that guy. He put on a good fight. But too much time has passed by, and now I think those eyes from boxing don't give a shit.
Yeah, if I agree, Goes, it would have been nice for the sport. I don't blame Conor for being selfish, though, because that's just kind of like the breeding grounds of our sport. The promoter has to make a lot of selfish decisions. If you're not popping, see ya. A cut or a downgrade in your main event status to now your fight pass. They've also set the tone for the way people can act in the sport. So for Conor to come in and whether he used the UFC by telling him, oh yeah, I'll fight, let me be a dad, let me box this guy, I'll be back, and now he's not back. The UFC definitely had one coming to them. But either way, a lot of people made money. We're good. But there are times where I'm like, God damn it! But this could have been shored up a lot differently if, in fact, there was a little bit of honesty between Dana and Conor, and the title just could have been stripped when he signed on to fight Floyd. Hey, look, now I'm gonna box. I became a dad, but now I'm gonna go box. Okay, well then you're gonna vacate this title, or we're gonna strip you, and then we're gonna go on with our thing. And when you come back, right to the front, you're number one. Mm-hmm. Instead it was this cat and mouse game, and that's the part that kind of did suck.
Would you guys care to know what the listeners voted on?
Sure.
We got another nice participation today. Thank you at MMA Junkie Radio on Twitter. 1,545 votes came in. 64% said no, they would not want to see Roy Jones Jr. versus Anderson Silva in a boxing ring, while 36% said yes.
How much are you willing to pay for it?
I'm not.
You're not willing to pay for it?
No.
Well, this matchup is a little bit more intriguing for me than Connor and Floyd. And did you guys catch Michael Venom Page when he boxed?
No.
No, I didn't.
All right, he did a lot of things that he does in mixed martial arts. The way he threw was very awkward, and I think Anderson can do. I think that would actually benefit him in a fight against Roy Jones Jr. Roy is.
I don't think he beats Roy though.
He's slowed down. He's slowed down a lot. So he's been fighting guys that just aren't that great, and those guys have kind of hung around a little bit. I don't see those guys being that much better than an Anderson Silva. So I actually think he would give him some problems. You're right, though. At the end of the day, it is one of the greatest boxers that ever lived, and I'm sure he'll get a beat for Anderson, but it's going to take him a while. I think it'll take longer for him to get a beat on Anderson Silva than it did Floyd Mayweather to get a beat on Conor McGregor.
I agree with you, but I wouldn't pay as much for it. I think it means more than Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, as crazy as that might sound to some. But if they were to do that $100 pay-per-view tag again, dude, I'd be tapping out. Like I would be a sucker and pay a $49.99. I don't know.
I was going to say that's my price tag. I would pay $49.99 because I think it would be a fun fight.
No, I'll go to someone's house, and I'm just not going to pay.
Well, I think we all would do that, right? But, I mean, if you had to pay, I think 49 would be my limit.
Well, okay, I'll be clear about this, though. Okay. I'll either go to someone's house, and if no one's having it, then I'm not paying for it, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm just not paying for it. I know the result already, and what I don't know is if a young Roy, discovers the fountain of youth, takes him out pretty early, or if it's a boring decision. That's the part I don't know, but I already know who's going to win, so therefore I can just catch a replay. You know how Showtime or HBO do it the following week? I'll just catch that. Let me know. I'll watch the round by round. But if someone's going, I'm having it, all right, I'm on my way, and that's only if I don't have better plans already.
Wow, okay. I can't hate that.
What if there was more to the card?
Yeah, that's something that would be different than.
Okay.
Like if they had done it on Garcia and Rios, sure.
Yeah.
But even that wasn't a pay-per-view, so that's a bad example. But are you saying like
maybe like a Chocolatito, somebody, something to add to that card? Would it be more?
Joe Parker.
I'm only paying for certain boxing matches, so maybe not even that goes.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, got to be a little bit more selective. I mean, I passed on the last pay-per-view, Australia. I went to a friend's house.
Okay, now hypothetical here. Now let's say it goes down, but it doesn't go down now, so you don't have your opinion of now. It goes down 9 years ago after UFC 101 when Roy Jones Jr. was in the audience when Anderson Silva schooled Forrest Griffin. Gave us that highlight reel. It's the next day. It's now Sunday after UFC 101. George, they're going to fight. Would you pay $49.99?
Yes, because a few of those other fights hadn't happened. Okay. And so Floyd and Conor just taught me a lesson. And I'm proud of the fact that I didn't pay for that. But it taught me a lesson in watching it that it's two complete different sports. It's nothing against Anderson Silva. I'm just as convinced that Anderson Silva would blast him if he comes into our sport. Maybe even worse. But in this one, I already know the result. So yeah. That's why I don't go to the Globetrotters, and the Generals, I guess. I went once as a kid, maybe once as an adult, and now unless I really have nothing to do and someone says, I got an extra ticket, sure, I'll go because there'll be some entertainment. There'll be some entertainment in Anderson and the other guy, but not enough, man. I guess at some point you just go, fuck, man, like, this is my money too, and a lot of other people are getting rich on these fucking circus acts.
Yeah.
So, it could lead into something else. I just don't know if I want to tackle it right now. So let's take a break. I'll talk about it with Goes, but it's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. We'll have the baddest man on the planet on the show, Joe Warren, who's fighting at Bellator 195.
Hey, idiot! Yeah, you! Can you please tap that rather large fellow on the shoulder and tell him it's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes? Thank you!
It's the Impossible Springsteen ticket, and we're giving them away to SiriusXM subscribers. SiriusXM's E Street Radio is filling all the seats for the March 14th performance of Springsteen on Broadway. Grand prize winners will get airfare, hotel, and tickets to this exclusive show. For official rules and to enter, go to SiriusXM.com/Springsteen. No additional purchase is necessary. All right, so Danny will give me the green light when we have our next guest locked and loaded. It's going to be Joe Warren, the baddest man on the planet. Follow him on Twitter at Joe Warren MMA. He's a two-weight Bellator MMA world champion, and of course he's got an amazing past representing our country in Greco-Roman wrestling. And now Joe is fighting at Bellator 195, much like our first guest of the day, Emily Ducote. Joe will be facing Joe Timanglo. He joins us now on MMA Junkie Radio. What's up, Joe? How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, boys. Appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure to have the baddest man on the planet on the show. You kidding me? We're excited.
All right.
All right, Joe. So you've done this dance for a long time, man. MMA, and we've asked you in the past. Wrestling is, will always be a huge love, that you've had for that sport. How much did MMA close the gap over all these years of competing?
Yeah, I keep thinking I'm going to become a fighter. I don't think you ever really do. It's the most unpredictable place. Usually, on a wrestling match, 9 out of 10 times you can pick who's going to win that fight or that match. Not on in a cage. So, I do feel more comfortable now than I have before. But I wrestled for so many years, and it was just without even thinking about it, a second nature. So I feel that way now, but still, anxious and excited to get in that cage and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. But I guess you kind of tap danced around my question. How far ahead is wrestling ahead of mixed martial arts in terms of the love, the pure joy you have in competing?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, I never really loved fighting.
Okay.
It's been a job for me. And, we started as tough as it could possibly be, in the dream. The first fighting some of the best in the world, so I really kind of did get my feet under me for a few years, and I had a belt then. So it was more of a job than a love. The wrestling was more of a love, since I was a kid. It was something that I was focused on trying to win, and I got, it was goal setting, and I got that done. And now this is getting in the cage and taking care of the family. So I think I just see them different.
I know the wrestlers have this mentality where you're not going to outgrind me, you're not going to out-tough me. When have you seen it you've had over 20 fights in mixed martial arts. I've been told by some wrestlers that are now fighters, I've already seen that I'm the tougher guy at the weigh-ins. I've already seen it when we're touching gloves, when the ref's giving me the last-minute instructions. Or I've seen it the first time we lock up. Or I didn't see it till the third round. When have you spotted the most in these 20 fights or so that, hey, this guy for sure isn't tougher than me? At least I got that going.
Well, that's why we got in the sport. I was a current Greco-Roman world champion. I thought anybody at 135, 140 pounds, didn't matter what kind of sport or what kind of fighter they were, they couldn't beat me. I just won the toughest thing in the world. So we just jumped in and got that done. But I'll tell you, I don't really, I'm not really sure where you can go with that question. Can you guys still hear me? Hello?
Yeah. So you're a little in and out, but we can hear you.
You guys cut out.
Okay.
Sorry about that. What was the question? I just
the question is when have you been able to read into the opponent's eyes and just know I got this guy? I'm a tougher motherfucker than he is.
I get in these guys' heads right away. My coach says I break them all the time. Sometimes I break them in the weigh-in line. Sometimes I just break them verbally, assaulting them. And I think that really gets in these guys' heads. I think, the wrestling background, Olympic background, they're real tough guys. They've been there for a long time. They're used to the drama. And I think some of the fighters are younger, and I think you can get in their heads. So I think sometimes when they weigh in that first initial stare off, I feel like I always get them there. You know, you always really, I switch the script on them. I act really mean, and then I'm really nice, and really mean, and then really nice, so they're not sure how to take me. And then when you get in the cage, they got a warrior to deal with. So I think everybody's different, but I think I get in their heads probably in the interviews and then before the fight.
Goes, what do you have for the baddest man on the planet, Joe Warren?
Joe, both you and your opponent are very high-paced fighters, but he's got to be weary of your takedowns, and the timing that you have is impeccable with those. Do you feel like he'll still be the same aggressive Joe that we see in his other fights?
Yeah, you know, I'm not 100% sure. I know he goes hard. My coach watches all the tapes. I come to practice to make sure that technically I'm dealing with the game plan is for this fight. So my game plan is to move forward and punch this guy's body and head and try to get into that takedown, keep him against the cage. I know he likes to move forward. I don't know if his game or skill set is going to work against me. He's going to have to keep moving forward and try to hit me with something that hurts. I keep moving and into those takedowns. So I just don't think, like you said, if he's going to see who's tougher in that fight, like you guys talked about before. Usually the wrestler is the tougher fighter there. You know, he's like I said, unpredictable case, man. You never know what's going to happen in there. So, yeah, I mean, I'm open-minded to how strong he is moving forward. He keeps catching everyone in those front chokes. So we're concerned. You know, we're not concerned, but we know what's going to happen there. So I'm going to push this pace and just try to break him. I don't think he's ever been in the cage with a guy like me.
Joe, the very first time we spoke to you, it was actually in studio here at Mandalay Bay, and you were preparing for a Grand Prix. It was in Japan. Can you share your thoughts on Grand Prix, what you learned from that Grand Prix, and if you had a talk with any of the guys that are in it? I know you're good friends with King Mo because he was here with you that day. What advice would you give a Grand Prix participant?
Yeah, I think the Grand Prix of the tournaments is a better system for wrestlers. You know, it's really hard to do to stay focused. But yeah, that was a long time ago. That was before my first fight. Before we went over to Dream, I forgot about that. That was a great time. But yeah, we see, you know, wrestlers used to wrestling, you know, a few times a month or a few times a week. So we're used to competing. So sometimes when you switch over from wrestling to MMA, it's really hard to stay focused a lot because you're only fighting once or twice a year. That tournament aspect is every month you have a fight. Like when we went over to Japan, when King Mooney fights in those. You know, the people have a different mindset of staying safe and things like that. You know, my mindset is theirs to fight down and just pummel through this dude and try to hurt him, try to get out of that fight as quick as I can, try not to gain any damage in that fight. But, you know, just staying, I think the conditioning factor of those tournaments, if you're staying focused through that year with your running and things like that, you don't take as much damage in those first few rounds and you're able to move through. I think and I think it's kind of more comfortable for me because I kind of know who I'm going to fight and when I'm going to fight. And, you know, it'll be next month, it'll be this person. And, you know, it's a quicker turnaround. It's kind of harder for me to wait, you know, 6 months in between fights.
Joe Warren, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. He fights at Bellator 195, which is headlined by Darian Caldwell defending his belt versus Leandro Higo. This takes place on March 2nd at the WinStar World Casino and Resort in Thackerville, Oklahoma. Joe's opponent that night will be Joe Taimanglo. All right, Dan, Tom, what do you have for Joe Warren?
Hey Joe, I know you obviously embrace your wrestling base in your fighting style, and you know, with that in mind, who are you working with your ground fighting? Because I'm of the impression that high-level wrestlers like yourself stand to gain much more than maybe per se your average fighter when it comes to pairing up with a ground coach.
Yeah, you know, and you're right about that. You know, my career kind of has been crazy. You know, the ball started rolling down the hill, I've been running out of the way of it. I fight a lot of high-level athletes, you know, world champions in sports and in jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, things like that. So, really, if I try to learn and try to roll around with these guys, these world champions in jiu-jitsu on the ground, I'm going to get caught, okay, realistically. They're the best in the world at what they do, and I'm the best in the world at what I do. So, I'm more of an anti-jiu-jitsu. I understand jiu-jitsu, I understand positioning. I work with Kenzo Gracie. I work with Alan Teo. out of Fort Lee, Jersey, and then Henzo Gracie out of Manhattan. So when I need any help, I fly in there, and we one-on-one work in positions. You know, if I have a problem with getting out of a knee bar, ankle lock or knee bar or arm bar, then I just work with them. So it's more I bust down the technique. I learn how I get caught in it, what to do, and then it's more teaching myself to stay out of that position. You know, to be more inside control, lock the hips down, and be more of a wet blanket so I can land punches. Or I'm not really looking for the submission. I mean, I'm going to hurt you, try to put some pain into you, and then if you turn into me, I'll rip your neck off of your arm. But I'm not going to lock down, like lay on my back and look for an arm bar. You know, I believe the fights are way too short, and people get really lackadaisical on the ground looking for submissions. When do you see a submission in our game these days? You have to be pretty nasty to set an arm bar up if you can get it, or set something else up. If you roll into something and get caught in it, it's another thing. But I just try not to focus on jiu-jitsu, more of an anti-jiu-jitsu.
100%. I'm a big catch wrestling fan myself, so I'm hearing where you're coming from there. But
right.
On this note, though, while we're on that topic, what do you think about wrestlers per se? You often hear that trope in MMA that they fall in love with their hands and whatnot. What's your opinion on those type of styles or fighters? And do you agree or maybe disagree with that?
No, it's just what wrestlers are, man. They're crazy overconfident. So once you put gloves on us and we decide, oh, hey, we know how to hit pads now, we think technically we're as sound as everyone else because we're overconfident. Okay, that's the bottom line. You know, we're not technically as sound as anybody hitting those pads. We might feel comfortable hitting the pads, but then you get in there against some Muay Thai strikers, some background striking, you really see the difference. You know, the timing difference, the speed, the power. You know, and the wrestler that gets caught up into that, like you said, gets caught up in the striking the ways that they are a striker, they usually have a harder time moving forward. You know, you run into those hard hitters, and like I said, jiu-jitsu, you mess around with a black belt on the ground, you're probably going to get caught. You mess around on your feet with, the top-level Muay Thai fighter, you're probably going to get caught. So if they could just stay focused and understand they use their striking to get to their wrestling. I use my hands to close the distance to get to the body. You know, I'm not throwing crazy shots. Hopefully they might knock the guy out, but I'm using it to close distance. And so that means it's kind of using the wrestling in a smarter way. MMA wrestling, I guess you'd call it. You know, like catch wrestling. On the ground is more like MMA wrestling, you know. So on my feet, I'm using my hands. I'm striking every other day just to keep my. I believe I'm really good at striking. When the fight comes around, it all goes to a wrestling match anyway. So I just feel comfortable. If I need to use my hands, I can. But like I said, I'm using them to just close the distance to get into them. It's that gray area, that 10 feet in between the fighters, where a wrestler gets in trouble. That's when, if you're going to catch us, you're going to catch us with a knee or a straight right or something to stop our momentum going forward.
Folks, he's the baddest man on the planet. Follow him on Twitter at Joe Warren MMA and check him out. His next fight is on March 2nd. In Oklahoma, Thackerville, Oklahoma. He'll be part of the Bellator 195 card, and he'll be facing Joe Tamaglo. Always a pleasure to have you on, Joe. I got to tell you, man, all these years of covering you, I've enjoyed the interviews. I love your smack talk. I love watching you prep for your fight, walk out, cussing up a storm. I'm a huge fan, all right? I'm not supposed to say that because I'm media. But the funny thing is, my dad can't stand you. Which is good. Which is good because you have haters and you have fans, you know what I mean? But like two people that are related, I'm a huge fan. I always tell him, hey, the baddest man on the planet's fighting. Turn it on. He was like, man, I can't see. He says, I can't stand that guy. But I think deep down he's a fan anyway.
Oh, no, man. And the thing is, when I started fighting, I had to sell myself. The Bellator was like, the baddest man needs to come out right now. And I'm like, not a problem. So we sold the image as much as we sold anything else. And that's really who I am, I turned my switch and become the baddest man on the fucking planet. And I pulled the trigger and see what happens out there. Then when I get on the cage, I switch back to Joe and rock and roll. But, you guys getting firsthand looking at this because there's a camera in my face always. So, but same old baddest man is back again and fired up to perform for you. So hopefully we can do it.
All right, my man. Thanks again for the time. We appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of your camp, and we'll be tuning in on March 2nd. Take care, bud. All right, folks. That is Joe Warren, baddest man on the planet. And again, thank you to Bellator for coordinating that. CJ and Dan, thanks again. We're getting ready to wrap up here pretty soon. So, quick preview for tomorrow. Brad Tavares will be our guest co-host. So, that should be cool. And again, the daily debate, it's not going anywhere. We're going to be doing it daily. So, just to let you all know, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. You'll see the Twitter poll go up on the website's Twitter handle, at MMA Junkie. You can vote. Lots of people are getting in there. And it'd be nice to get, 5,000 votes in those 2 hours. It closes at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, right as the show is starting. So, always a good chance for you to give your opinion and participate one way or another, even if you can't call in. Of course, the call-ins are even better, 866-522-2846. Jot that down. Today it's too late, but tomorrow we'd love to get some, tomorrow and Friday, we'd love to get some new callers. It's not easy, I'll be honest. Even when I used to call into radio shows, it's not like I was that comfortable about it. But after a few times, you can be one of the characters like Marco from Waco and Brandon from Louisville and Brian from Boston. There's a lot of really, really fun people that we've talked to and actually gotten to meet at our junkie gatherings, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Anyway, Goes, you ready for Man U, or have you been staying away, or do you have plans to immediately watch it? Or are you taping it? Because I didn't remember to tape it. So
it should be taping on on our cable system. So I'm gonna go home and prep a little meal and watch it.
All right.
Did the game already start?
Yeah, it's up there, but I can't see it.
Ooh, okay.
I can't see it. I just see playing back and forth. And you get Staples out today,
yeah,
right?
wish me some luck. Hopefully, more importantly, hopefully just getting some good news that all this 2 months of pain have been worth it.
You're going to be like Dalton on Roadhouse. Instead of the Staples going in, they just pulling them out?
Probably. I'm not going to look, so they can do whatever they want. I won't
when
be
they
looking.
put them in, did you say no anesthesia? No. Did you tell them pain don't hurt?
Pain don't hurt. Pain don't hurt.
I just saw Roadhouse the other day.
Probably not, dude. I almost passed out for the second time in my life looking at this thing the first time when I saw it because it was just so gross.
I want Dan to look. How much?
Dude, you should see. I almost passed out, dude. I get cold sweat. It was bad, dude. Maybe not. Now that I'm used to the wound and it's gotten not as bad. I'll tell you.
Facebook Live it.
Yeah, I'll tell you if I Joey Diaz and pass out or not.
Well, good luck with that, Dan.
Thanks, man.
We'll see you tomorrow, or
I'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'll be no missing work for it. Yeah.
All right. So again, Brad Tavares, UFC middleweight. He'll be with us tomorrow. He's fighting Christoph Jocko coming up UFC on Fox 29 in Glendale. Man. Poirier and Gaethje, that card down there. So we'll be catching them mid-camp. Should be fun. All right, so for Danny back east, Dan and Goes, I'm George. Have a nice day. Go Man U. And check out Danny's show tonight later as well.
Yeah.
Beat champions, everybody.
Keep on the